Hello. Today's poem we're considering is The Ruined Maid by Thomas Hardy. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, it would be greatly appreciated if you would. All you have to do is to hit the subscribe button below. Many thanks. I have the poem here, so let's start.
Oh, Melia, my dear, this does everything crown. Who could have supposed I should meet you in town? And when such fair garments, such prosperity? Oh, didn't you know I've been ruined, said she. You left us in tatters, without shoes or socks, tired of digging potatoes and spudding up docks. And now your gay bracelets and bright feathers three. Yes, that's how we dress when we're ruined, said she. At home in the barton you said thee and thou, and thick con and there's oon and t'other, but now you're talking quite fits, Eve, for high company. Some polish is gained with one's ruin, said she. Your hands were like paws then, your face blue and bleak, but now I'm bewitched by your delicate cheek, and your little gloves fit as on any lady. We never do work when we're ruined, said she. You used to call home life a hag-ridden dream, and you'd sigh and you'd sock, but at present you seem to know not of megrims or melancholy. True, one's pretty lively when ruined, said she. I wish I had feathers, a fine sweeping gown, and a delicate face that could strut about town. My dear, a raw country girl such as you be cannot quite expect that. You ain't ruined, said she. A highly entertaining, humorous poem that makes many serious points. So let's start to unpack it. The Ruined Maid is about an encounter between two old acquaintances, women who both came from lowly working class origins, who meet each other by chance while in town. However, one of these women, Amelia, the ruined maid of the poem's title, has escaped her working class roots and acquired all sorts of fine clothes and other trappings of upper class life because she has become the mistress or kept woman of a wealthy man. Ruined is a euphemism, meaning Melia has lost her innocence, purity, and virginity. However, as the poem unfolds, we appreciate that ruined is a pun, as it also means being spoilt materially. Melia has abandoned her roots, the concept of hard work and the natural world, and embraced the world of superficiality and materialism. One way to approach this poem is to look for the sarcastic barbs thrown by each woman in their exchanges. There is a great deal of verbal sparring going on here. Who could have supposed I could meet you in town is likely a sarcastic remark because she would expect to find Amelia in town, and she's likely the talk of the village she left behind. Even calling her Melia, the way she was addressed back in the village, we would suppose, is a put-down line, a way of putting her back in her place, and that she will not address her in any fancy terms. The other woman knows Melia's past. Amelia's name is derived from Latin and means work, and work is a theme of the poem. Both women work in their way to survive in the world, but both have chosen widely different methods. Amelia can also mean industrious and striving, so Hardy chooses her name carefully to fit the theme. Amelia has been industrious, working hard to gain middle-class status at the expense of social respect. The last line of each stanza references Amelia's ruin. Amelia's talk of being ruined is ambiguous. She refers to it as a statement of victimhood and also, at the same time, a status, a badge of pride and something to throw in the face of her acquaintance. Likely she is being ironic and sarcastic in describing herself as ruined, as she has benefited materially. Ruined again having connotations of being spoilt and privileged. She appears not to reject this lifestyle, but rather embrace it. Amelia uses the term to show she is not ashamed of the way she gained her success. Amelia is on the offensive in this war of words and rubs her success in the other woman's face. We gain the impression that Amelia can handle herself and has encountered similar barbs before. The poem charts Amelia's rags to riches story. The first 3 lines of each stanza refer to her past life, while the final line of each brings us to her present life as a ruined maid. Amelia turned her back on a hard life of work and subsistence for a life of glamour. The poem uses contrast to stress the change in her life and also the contrast between the women. Hardy uses archaic language, thee and thou, to add context to where and when the poem is set. Phonetically spelt words like thicún and theasún and t'other allows the reader to gather a sense of the southwestern accent. Non-standard spellings like sock for sulk and megrims for migraines assist placing the poem in time and place, likely the southwest of England, the Dorset where Hardy came from and wrote about in his novels and poems, the area he referred to as Wessex. This lexical word choice lends substance to the story and places it in a context. Although archaic, words like thee and thou were used in Hardy's day in southwest England, making the poem contemporary to his time. Being written in the third person voice makes the poet the narrator and storyteller. The friend reminds Amelia that she used thee and thou rather than you to show how she has abandoned her roots and lost touch with her origins. The poet employs binary opposites to show the social class of both women. Amelia has advanced and climbed the social ladder, while her acquaintance remains at the bottom of the ladder, eking a living off the land. The poem contrasts the values of the village and that of the town, and the lifestyles of the rich and the poor, and of virtue and immorality. The speaker reminds Amelia of her humble beginnings and her physical change. Your hands were like paws then, your face blue and bleak, but now I'm bewitched by your delicate cheek, and your little gloves fit as on any lady. Her reference to lady is likely sarcastic, referencing Amelia's humble background and that she is no lady. She also attributes her changing skin tone to the artifice of heavy makeup. By implication, Amelia is superficial and nothing but show.
her acquaintance remarks about Amelia's finery: gay bracelets and bright feathers 3, a fine sweeping gown and a delicate face. Gay and bright suggest a gaudiness about her dress. The other woman implies that showing off her wealth is vulgar. These remarks imply Amelia wears the veneer of respectability, but below the surface she is still of working class stock. Bewitched implies Amelia is a witch that casts spells on men, referencing the man she has snared. She reminds Amelia that back in the village she had a reputation for laziness, feigning megrims, migraines, and melancholy to get out of doing her fair share of work. The critical question throughout is what drives the other woman's sarcastic comments. Does the woman envy Amelia's success and social climbing and prosperity? Likely she does, and in the final stanza this is made explicit when she says, "I wish I had feathers, a fine sweeping gown, and a delicate face, and could strut about town." However, Amelia is left with the final lines of the poem, the parting shots. Unabashed, she replies, "My dear, a raw country girl such as you be cannot quite expect that. You ain't ruined," said she. Ruined is weaponized and thrown back in the woman's face. Amelia unashamedly demonstrates that the life she leads is not so bad compared to the life she left behind. If there is an ounce of regret, she does not give her acquaintance the pleasure of seeing it. By contrast, she leaves the woman to ruminate on the fact that she has not been ruined morally, but it has not got her the things she may secretly covet, wish for: the fine clothes and makeup, delicate face. Although outwardly distinct, both women have much in common. Both use their bodies, Amelia to earn patronage and gifts from her lover, the other woman using her physical labour on the land, digging potatoes and spudding up docks. The rhyming couplets stress the similarity of both women. The use of anapastic tetrameter and interchanging stresses in lines sets a jaunty and light-hearted tone, supporting the sparring between both. Hardy stated he wished the poem to be understood as satirical, and using broad humour invites the reader to consider serious topics such as women and sex in Victorian society. Hardy is also challenging stereotypes and the trope of poor innocent woman exploited and led to a life of sin. Amelia is far from contrite and apologetic about the life she leads. She knows it has brought her freedom and advantages of sorts. We can also appreciate that this toughness is what led her to climb the social ladder. Her lifestyle has toughened her and made her world-wise. Her closing retort to her acquaintance, "My dear, a raw country girl such as you be," implies she is an adult and wiser than her. "My dear" is patronising. Raw country girl implies the other woman is naive, and even though they may be of similar age, the other woman is unschooled in the ways of the world, represented by the town in this poem. At the end of the poem, Amelia leaves the woman to reflect on what staying at the village has really achieved. Hardy never shied from discussing controversial issues, and although the poem was written in 1866, it was not published in a slightly amended version until 1901 in the new century with a new king, this being Edward VII, renowned for his entourage of mistresses. As well as a top-ranking novelist, Thomas Hardy, 1840 to 1928, was a prolific poet, with his complete poems running to 1,000 pages. His importance also rests in writing throughout most of Queen Victoria's reign and into the early 20th century, chronicling social change accelerated by the First World War. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you found it interesting and helpful. If so, please hit the like button below. Also, check out our other videos on writing and textual analysis. If you haven't subscribed yet, it would be greatly appreciated if you would. Thank you. Until next time, from Carol and me, write well.